Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cheese, Curds, and Coffee. My name is Alan Thompson, and I am joined by the beautiful, talented, wonderful Katie Thompson, star of the show. How are you?
Great.
You look phenomenal.
I don't know why you keep saying that. He's buttering me up for something. Something's gonna happen.
I love that for you that you think that, but no, it's just literally like I just think you look.
I put a headband on today. It's been a hot minute since we wore this bad boy. That's the only difference. Everything else is exactly the same.
So the title of today's episode is "You Know What to Do, so why aren't you doing it?"
Dun dun dun.
It's a question that came up yesterday, I think, and we kind of live this throughout the week. You're a coach. Excuse me. You're a coach at a gym, so you want people to show up regularly and do all the things. And I know you're working with a few people for nutrition, and I think you and I have had several conversations about people know what to do, we know what to do, and then for whatever reason we don't do it. And now we're going to talk about how to not do that, how to keep your commitments to yourself. Excuse me. So, first, like we always do, let's cover the week. So, how was the week for you? What came up? What were your thoughts? Good week, bad week, average week?
Depends on which thing you're asking me about. But generally speaking, probably average and good most of the time. It was average coaching schedule for me on my normal, regular shifts. But we also had a coach that was traveling to take some time off for the weekend. So I picked up a couple of extra shifts, which I enjoy doing. So that was fine. Also, we introduced a new substitute coach into the community. So we brought her in, had her shadow a couple of classes with us this week. She got to watch Stacy in the evening. And then she came back today and shadowed our morning class. Had some drop-ins, had some members, had some, regulars. It was great. She's a good addition to the team. Excited to be able to get her in front of everybody, and she'll come back again next week and do some more work with our team and continue to build, her roster of hours as they become available. I'm on a non kind of coaching front, other general business responsibilities for me this week. There was a big conference call with the software platform that we use, and they kind of do a mid-year state of the business. So logged in for that, had that for, about an hour. Fire inspection came through. That's an annual occurrence, which is interesting because I think it depends on who is in charge of, who's in charge of our area. So when I said mostly good for this week or whatever, I was frustrated with how the fire inspection went this year. We've owned the business for just over about 4.5 years now, and we've only had 2 fire inspections. So whoever the fire inspector was in our area previously wasn't super regular.
Sure.
But last year's inspection was relatively seamless. We didn't change anything. So what we assumed to be everything was up to code, everything was great. I thought this, inspection was going to be maybe 15 minutes long. It ended up being an hour and a half, and there's minor things. Nothing is major,
Yep.
but minor things that we just need to fix to make sure that we're up to code. And we get a month to do that, and she'll come back and go through the things. So that was my Friday afternoon was sort of frustrating.
Good times. Oh, frustrating times. Yeah, no. And we'll get those things fixed, and we'll go about our business. But yeah, I love the way you dealt with that. I know you were frustrated with it Friday, and Saturday probably. But
it is what it is.
Right.
We need to be compliant. I want a safe environment.
Sure. No. Yeah.
That's a thing. I'm struggling with we didn't change anything from last year to this year. So that's a little funny, I guess. ironic, whatever, disheartening. Workouts were good for me this week, but still challenging myself to do the work by myself. I only jumped into a full class one time this week, and it was very early on in the week because I really loved that it was very strength heavy in the workout itself. And then the rest of the week for me was just my own style of strength training or picking up on some of the workouts on my own while other classes were going on. Had a moment where I wanted to give up, and the workout was really, really hard. And I think we're going to talk about that a little later. But again, like, got the workouts done, got the work in that I needed to do, but still working through the new structure for myself. Not yet settled into what that routine looks like or feels like.
Got it. Got it.
I think that's it from the business. It was your birthday this week.
Yes.
So we spent some time celebrating, had a really great lunch dinner out with another couple that we really enjoy their company. So I loved what we did on your birthday. You can speak to your thoughts of that. I know you're not big in celebrating things because society says we should celebrate them, but I love to celebrate Alan, and I think it's important for him to feel extra special on special days. So it was good. I enjoyed that for you.
Well, today's a special day. You should make me feel extra special today.
What's special about today?
It's
the day after your birthday?
Or Tuesday, or, whatever. But we'll keep going. We can keep going.
And I got to sit in on the studio audience of a podcast collaboration that you did.
That was a lot of fun.
That is a good transition to turn over to what was your week like.
The week was fantastic. I got to post my first essay on Substack. This was the first week just really leaning into build your proof and launching this business and posting online. People are probably like, what is going on? This guy is like posting like 100x what he normally does. Workouts were good. I had to travel to a AI summit in Dallas. New experience for me, being on a plane with no Wi-Fi, no internet, no AI, no nothing. I couldn't even charge my...
It's because you flew on a budget airline.
Well,
that's the experience you get when you fly budget.
Been a minute since I've done that. The return trip was frustrating. We got delayed in the air for about an hour and a half.
The storm that came through here was pretty nasty.
Yes.
So I'm grateful that you didn't try to land
in it. Yeah, we literally headed to the East Coast and had to come back. And then I know that disrupted our pickup situation, so I ended up catching an Uber. But yeah, all that was actually productive and a good story to tell about that. First collaboration with Sam. I hope there's a ton more. It was a ton of fun for me. I loved sitting with him, working with him. Like, definitely one of my favorite people. So there were a ton of moments this week where I got to practice what we'll be talking about and thinking through it and using it. And I have just been more productive, effective, all the things as we kind of think through this and work through this in real time. So it was a really good week, and it was my birthday. So, okay. So this week you could argue this week was pretty average, pretty mundane, but I think it was full. If we take a step back and dive into some of the moments that we kind of touched on, we're going to dive into. If we think about the focus of this video, you know what to do, but you don't do it. And I think there were some moments there where that really came true for us and kind of broke through, and we can talk about. So Katie has gone through, for those of you who don't know, Katie has gone through quite the transformation. She used to be, there's a video floating around, I don't know where it is, we should maybe find it, of you on a squat rack.
I knew that was what you were going to say. This video comes up often.
And Katie's form back then, this is probably, I don't even know, how long ago was this video?
2016. It was right after we met.
Yeah.
10
Anyway,
years.
yeah. So you learn a lot in 10 years. Anyway, so she didn't quite know her own strength and her capabilities. She wasn't top tier when it comes to techniques. Anyway, so she goes to do a back squat, fails in the rack. The rack, everybody's safe. We re-rack the bar. We have a conversation. I don't even know if we changed the weights, but then you get back in and you just back squatted it, no problem. So the strength was always there. And I tell that story just because it just is an indication of how far you've come in your knowledge. So you know a ton about exercise, motivation, fitness, movement. I mean, she surpassed me in that in a lot of cases when it comes to how to work efficiently in the gym and how to do workouts. So knowing all of that and your wealth of knowledge, you still were faced with this moment where you wanted to quit this workout this week. Can you tell us about that? Why did it come up for you? And how did you sort of work through it? What happened?
Yeah. Okay. So the workout itself was a bunch of what I would consider fun movements. It had rope climbs. It had heavy sandbag cleans.
Those are fun.
Which is funny because past me was terrified of climbing ropes. But now if I see rope climbs in a workout, I want to do the workout because I think that's fun. Heavy sandbag cleans, which because of just equipment, we don't get to program that often in class environments. So this was programming for one of our competitive groups. It's a little bit smaller. We can accommodate that. We can, coach it in an environment where we have enough equipment to meet the needs. And bench press. So I'm working on strength. I get to do, heavy strength day, couple this with, some things that I enjoy. This on paper looked like it was going to be great. I coached our team that was in the class through the workout before I did the workout. Now, normally I prefer to do it and then coach it so that I know what it feels like. And my goodness, I actually apologized to these two individuals that did the workout before I did as I was dying through it because I was so positive in my encouragement of like, you can do this, your strength, don't quit, like, come on, keep going, as they were also challenged through this workout and taking breaks. So what I didn't understand was how the volume was going to creep up on me and that the movements were going to tax me the way that they did. So I was trying to, the bench press I think was probably the easiest part of the workout, but it was in the beginning a high enough volume that I was a little apprehensive that like maybe I might not be able to get every rep and I might have to take a break and shake it out and then put it back in and not do them unbroken. That was okay. Then I went to this heavy sandbag clean and I know that I have used a 100-pound sandbag in a competition. So I'm like, I should use the 100-pound sandbag.
Yep.
This thing was destroying me.
Yep.
And the way in which it was spiking my heart rate, doing these cleans, getting this 100-pound, literally like bag of flour, sand, from the ground up to my shoulder 6 times in a row, and then 5 times in a row, I was watching the clock, recognizing that I was not going to finish this workout within the time cap because this apparatus, this specific movement was taking me so long. I was having such a hard time. I had to take so much rest in between each one of the movements before I could then move on. The rope climbs were challenging, but I never felt like I was not going to make it. And the number of them was low enough. I only had to do 2 in the first round, 2 in the second round, and then it switched to 1 in the rounds after that. Like I can do 1 rope climb even if I'm tired. These sandbags were like the death of me. And so I looked at my clock and I was like, I'm already halfway through the time cap. Mm-hmm. I could just stop. Like I'm not going to finish.
So, and just to make sure I, the frame of reference, right? So A person that's full of all the knowledge, who knows the workouts, who knows the movements, who knows how to motivate herself to do all the things, is now faced with a choice. You get to decide to keep going or to quit, to stop
Yeah.
in the middle of it.
Yep.
What choice did you make?
I kept going. But I pivoted.
Okay.
So I recognized that there was zero hope of me finishing this workout if I continued to try and use this 100-pound sandbag.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a 70-pound sandbag next to it that I was using as a warm-up to try and get ready for, the heavy weights. And I know I can go touch and go at 70 pounds, which just means I don't have to put it down. I can tap the floor. I can bring it to my shoulder. I can bring it back down to the floor, tap my shoulder, and bring it back down. So I can complete the movements and make up the time that I was like, so much time has expired because I was taking so much break in between the other reps. So by round 3, I did my bench press, and then I went to the sandbags, and instead of grabbing the 100-pound, I grabbed the 70. So I could move through that much more quickly. Then I knew I only had 1 rope climb. Then I went back. There were 2 other rounds after that. So I finished the workout with 9 seconds left of my time cap. I should have started with the 70-pound bag. Mm-hmm. I would have been more appropriately working through this workout. But it took the community that was there with me telling me the same thing that I told them. You can do this. Do not give up. You're strong enough. You know how to do this, move, that your form still looks good. So Ryan was in the rig. I knew that he was there to help me with the bench press if I hit failure and needed assistance. Mm-hmm. Coach Sam was running class, but still in my ear, all the things. And I made it, and then I took probably 40 minutes to collect myself.
I love that. So the question
moved on in life for the day.
Yeah, the question that I want to talk about and get a deeper dive in is that you have all the knowledge, you have all the skill. What was the conversation like when you were considering quitting?
This is really hard. Why am I doing this?
Good. What was it? How did you convince yourself not to fall into that emotion or listen to that conversation happening, that story that was happening for you? Why didn't you just listen to that story that was playing in your head? What happened? What did you
I had previously coached other athletes through the workout. I watched them do it and finish. Mm-hmm. So I knew it was possible, right? Mm-hmm. I know what their fitness level is. I know what my fitness level is. Mm-hmm. Relatively speaking, I'm not super far away from where they are. Yep. We're in the same, kind of wheelhouse. And I knew I could do it if I adjusted and made a slight change to what was happening. I would not have finished had I continued to try and use the 100-pound sandbag. And at that point, I may have gotten hurt, right? When you're that tired, if you're moving load that's too heavy for you, your form starts to break down. Yep. So these are coaching experience or training experience factors that are playing into, I don't want to stop because I want to get a good workout. I don't want to stop because I still need to do my strength training. I don't want to stop because at this point I've only been moving for, call it 10 minutes of the 15 minutes that I was supposed to go. How can I adjust so that I can do the whole thing?
I love that. So if we do a deep dive into that moment, so for a lot of people, and again, the overall theme of this conversation is you know what to do, so why aren't you doing it? And I believe that a lot of times for people, we succumb to the emotion.
I was emotional.
We succumb to the story. So we set the plan the night before. I'm assuming you said, hey, I'm going to do this workout either the previous
a week
day.
Before.
Oh,
I had even texted Stacy, one of our other coaches, who I know loves a rope climb and likes to do odd object movements. And on Sunday, a week before the Friday workout comes up, I text her to say, you're really going to like the 9:45 class on Friday. You might want to take it. Now, she forgot because I sent it on Sunday and I didn't remind her.
Sure.
But I had already been
Yeah.
planning since Sunday that I was going to do this particular workout on Friday.
I love it. And then the moment arrives, and the emotion creeps up. And this is before or after the fire inspection?
Before.
Before the fire inspection.
Oh, yeah. So poor fire inspection lady had like
Yeah.
emotionally disheveled Katie.
So the moment arrives. You had planned on it. You have all the information that you need, right? You have the skill. You have the level. You have the CrossFit Level 2 certification. You have the years of experience. You're light years from the woman in the squat rack who didn't know very much about anything about exercise. And you still face the moment this emotion comes up and you don't quit. And I think that's I think that is the answer to the question of, you know what to do, why aren't you doing it? Because that emotion comes up in the moment. Emotion comes up and now we start listening to that story in our head about I can't do this, or I want to quit, or I don't feel like it, or it's too hard, or I can't finish, right? And it's such a great example of you leveraging higher agency decision making in that moment and saying, this story that I'm telling myself isn't true. I can finish this. I'm going to tweak it, scale it, and you honored the higher agency decision to complete something you said you were going to complete. Keep the promise that you made to yourself in that moment. And that's the secret. I think people, and correct me if I'm wrong, let me know if you get this or not from people. Over the course of the weekend, Sam accused me of being super disciplined. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a misconception where people look at your physique, look at you online doing stuff, you own a gym, and it's always easy for you to go do a workout, or it's always easy for you to get through a workout. But they might be surprised that you have these conversations on a regular basis.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So it's just not one-off. Like, this happens a lot for you?
Well, it's harder right now because I'm doing it by myself.
Yeah.
Like, in the middle of a class, I'm trying to think. I don't think I have ever stopped a workout in the middle of a class. I know I have stopped a workout when I'm working out by myself because I've decided 3 rounds was fine. I don't need to do 6 or whatever because I let the emotional side of things win. If I am surrounded by other people that I know are also working and pushing, and there's a coach, leading and all of that, like, that emotion is different. So in particular right now, like, some days even the getting started for me is a challenge.
Right.
Because I know I'm getting started on my own.
Sure.
The class isn't getting warmed up. I don't have the coach in front, like, hyping the energy and asking us the question of the day and talking about, like, whatever story is being communicated to the room. I'm, like, tucked in a corner, got my own equipment, got my own, and unlike you, who's got, audiobook or podcast playing in your ear and you're, like, working through whatever new idea you have or problem that you're trying to solve, like, I'm just here
and yet
doing the thing.
And yet you get the workouts done.
Yeah, this week they were really good. I did very well. I
think
even deadlifted, and I hate deadlifts.
I think that's such a great example, right? Like, higher agency decision making. Higher agency decision making isn't some place you get to and now it just happens effortlessly for the rest of your life. I was listening to an audiobook this morning, and Seth Godin was talking about this idea of the infinite games. Some games you play that are just infinite, like catch. There's no winner or loser. You just play catch. The point is to participate. And health, wealth, happiness, we should really think of them as like infinite games. Like, we're just participating. There's no winner, there's no loser, there's no number that you get to on your blood test results that says, yes, I finally made it. I can stop doing whatever. Instead, higher agency decision making is all about like just participating because it's a skill. You got to practice it all the time. You can get caught in a spiral where you just start making low agency decisions, and success, and many times it's just making more high agency decisions more often. And I think that's what has really helped you be successful in your fitness and wealth and happiness journey. So I had a moment where emotions came up for me.
Slightly different than my workout situation.
Yes. Yes, I committed to cutting the grass today, one of my household chores. And I was out on my run this morning, thinking about, I was listening to an audible book, thinking about how great life is. Weather starts rolling in, the temperature drops. I'm like, oh, rain's coming. Maybe I don't have to cut the grass today. Maybe I don't have to do that. Man, wouldn't it be nice not to cut the grass today? So now I'm going on my run. I did like almost 8 miles this morning. Going on my run, and I think to myself, man, I'm tired. I just want to, just want to get Chipotle and have my lunch, take a shower, take a nap. That's all I want to do. I do not feel like cutting the grass. And isn't that the worst emotion? I don't feel like it. Does that come up for you a lot?
Not a lot, I don't think, but
It comes up
yes.
before a workout.
I don't want to go to the grocery store.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to do the laundry, like, the remedial, non-glamorous things, but I like to have healthy food in the house. If I don't go to the grocery store, there will not be healthy food for me to eat.
Yeah.
At which point, then I'm like either sitting here starving or I go buy something that's not healthy.
I don't like, so when we talk about this idea of like, you know what to do, why aren't you doing it? I don't feel like it is probably, I'm thinking, the number one answer. I don't feel like it. I'll do it on Monday. It doesn't matter. Probably my top 3 choices, and throughout the course of my life. And I felt all of those today when I was debating about cutting the grass. It was real. And it's such a small thing, you know what I mean? It's like such a small moment.
But also, for our listeners, we have a very small yard.
I know.
Like, when he says it's such a small thing, we don't have, like, acreage of land. We live in this relatively confined small cul-de-sac. And we don't even have a backyard because it's a swimming pool and it's on a conservation area. So when we talk about mowing the lawn, it's literally like a tiny little parcel in the front of our house.
It's not that tiny. Just let's be clear. It's not that tiny. It takes me about 20 minutes to cut it and then leaf blow it. And then I need to get more edging string because we're out of edging string so I can edge it. So maybe 25 minutes. But anyway, so I'm going through all of this like on the drive home. And the sky's clearing up. And I'm just having this whole discussion in my head about cutting the grass. I don't feel like it. I'll do it on Monday. I wonder how high does it have to get before we get an HOA warning letter? Is our neighbor's grass way taller so they'll leave us alone?
The neighbors just cut their lawn, so then it makes ours look even longer.
I know. And then I was like, man, I don't want to wait till Monday. And then finally, I paused, and asked myself a question. And pause is part of this the proof concept that we've been rolling out in the business. This idea that you can pause and ask yourself a series of questions and say, hey, why is this coming up for me? Is this story actually real? Like, am I actually too tired to cut the grass? I just lifted legs. I just went on a zone 2 / walk. Am I really too tired to take the 20 minutes to cut the grass? Probably not. And then I started thinking about the future Alan, like when I'm sitting, laying in bed, filling out my journal, and it's on my to-do list. Do I get a, do I get a, do I get to um, cross it out like I did it? And then I went down this hole of like rabbit hole of like, well, I want to be a good husband. Katie does so much at the business. She does so much at the house. The least I could do is cut our little yard. And then I want to be a good neighbor. Like I don't want to be that guy. I don't want us to have that house that's always
Yeah, I
like,
don't want that house either.
like disheveled. So all that to be said, so I decided I was gonna give myself a little treat when I got home. So I had fizzy water. What's a fizzy water? It's just it's just
It's a sparkling flavored water.
sparkly flavored
We
water.
just call them fizzy waters.
Yeah. Had a sparkling flavored water, and it was delicious. And then I went out and cut the grass, and it literally took like 20 minutes. Like my Whoop recorded an activity for 19 minutes.
Yeah, that's great.
Hey.
Increased your strain and everything.
Yes. But I think that is, I mean, for me, when I think about when people say you're disciplined or they look at you, and I think I was touching on, this is where I was going before, they look at you and they think, oh, you must have no problem getting up and go to the gym and not have these types of conversations with yourself ever. And I think people think of that about me, like, oh, you're so disciplined. I have these conversations with myself all the time, at least 2 or 3 days out of the week about getting up and going working out. At least a couple times a week about maybe we should go out and grab XYZ for dinner, or grab these snacks, or grab gummy bears, or grab whatever. And then today was just another example of like, it's just cutting the grass. It takes, it takes 20 minutes, but like I had this whole daggone debate in my head about getting it done. So yeah, so for you, like, how often does that come up for you? Not just the gym, but just in general, with the business, where you find yourself saying, "Hey, I committed to doing this, and now I don't feel like it, or I could do it tomorrow, or I could do it on Monday, or it doesn't matter." Like, how often does that come up for you?
I don't think it comes up super often. Where it does come up are the things that either I am not super familiar with, I'm not super comfortable with, or I don't feel like I'm an expert in. So quarterly, we have to pay sales tax to the state of Florida based on how many t-shirts we sell, how many bottles of water, how many beverages we sell, like that kind of stuff is basically what we're, reporting and sending out for those. So I know what I have to do. I actually, the last time, like, documented the process for myself so that every time I don't have to go rifling through a bunch of old paperwork to find the codes and the login details and all of the business specific numbers that have to go onto this tax form. But I'm 4.5 years into the business, and every quarter I have to do this. And every time it comes up, I am notorious for waiting until the last minute because there's a due date, right? And then if you're late, you get a fine. And if I'm being transparent, there were a couple years, or not a couple years, a couple quarters in the early years that I didn't get it done on time because I had no idea what I was doing and I was still trying to figure it out and I was learning as I was going. Now it's a matter of if it were to be late, it would purely be because I was having that internal battle of like, I don't feel like it. I don't, but it's because I still don't feel super confident. Every once in a while, our reporting software where we track all of our sales, like they change the report structures, and then the reports that I have saved maybe don't yield the exact same result, or the formatting is different, and so then I have to learn the new format. Like just right, like silly little things that I am capable of, but it's mentally more exhausting for me to deal with that. So instances like that, the budget, right? Like I know we have enough money to cover the bills. So do I really have to do the budget? Do I really have to pay attention to this? Or can I kick the can down the road a few more weeks and then just do it one time at the end of the month instead of every other week? It's the things that I don't enjoy.
It's interesting that you're able to, you're so much better at it now, able to navigate that. Do you feel like, I mean, I don't feel like it is the quintessential, like it is a classic. It's a feeling, it's emotion. And emotions can become instructions if we allow them to, right? I'm too tired, or I'm too sad, or those types of things. How would you, how have you kind of worked through those things?
In most cases, if I don't do it, it doesn't get done. Like, right, like in the scenario of mowing the lawn. If you don't mow the lawn, I can mow the lawn.
Well, sure. Sorry, I can also do the taxes.
Yes. But I would have to train you how to do the
I'm going to
taxes.
edit all this out because I don't like this. So I'll ask you again. Feelings are information, not necessarily instructions. What do you do to not allow the feeling to become the instruction, like to dictate, like this is how I'm going to operate?
I don't think I understand.
I'm too tired. Are you? Are you too tired?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, like you're not too tired most of the time, I would imagine.
All right. Let's see here. Why do you think feelings overcome the plan that we lay out for ourselves? Why do you think that happens?
I think by nature people are emotional. That's like part of the human condition. I am hyper emotional. I am like an overly emotional person.
Do you think we always have to obey the feelings that come up for us?
No. I don't think I don't think that's actually healthy to let your emotions get the best of you. I think you spiral when that happens, and it's usually spiraling into a negative situation.
I
Like,
think
I can't, I don't know if there's ever been an emotion that I've been like so overjoyed or like so in love that it's driven me to do something that would be detrimental. But like on the contrary, like I've been so overwhelmed with stress or grief or sorrow or anger or whatever, right? And then like you wallow in that and those become detrimental. Like that's dangerous
sure.
depending on what your scenario is. So no, you should not let your emotions take over. And I think that because we have a brain and a heart, there's this push and pull that as humans we have to navigate.
I just I think so often that we do allow our emotions to take over our thinking process. Like when I said before, like I don't feel like it was the pervasive reasons why things don't get done that I say that I'll get that I commit to doing. I don't feel like it, which is literally like the emotion. I just don't feel like doing it. Whenever I got into situations where it was like I wasn't going to the gym consistently or working out consistently, I don't feel like it. Whenever it was, I mean, I knew I needed to do it. The emotion was like, I don't feel like it. When I know I needed to eat healthy, I don't feel like it. I know I committed to a plan, but I don't feel like eating healthy today. And I just think that emotions can be so misleading sometimes. That they come from places that are like places and stories that have nothing to do with reality. I'll give you a great example. Your description of this workout that you just went through involved you climbing a rope. Now, there was a time in your life that getting Katie Thompson up on a rope was impossible. I was not likely. And the fact that you walk through this scenario where you're like, well, I know I can do a rope climb when I'm tired.
Well, one, not multiple. I knew I could do one.
I'm down for it. I'm here. Um, just shows like the emotions that you had about the fear that you had about climbing ropes and all that, unfounded. Like eventually you overcame them because they weren't grounded in reality. You overcame that. The emotion of like fear wasn't true. Or am I misremembering?
No, you're remembering very accurately. There is still a fear when you're 15 feet above the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I am strong enough so that outweighs the fear, I guess, or lessens the fear.
No,
because it's not gone entirely, right? Like I don't want to hang out at the top of the rope for 20 minutes.
I think it's a great example of you not letting the emotion be the decision maker in that moment.
Yeah.
It's time to climb the rope.
I know I have the strength to do this thing. I know I have developed the skills. I can clamp my foot. I can, I have the grip strength. The mechanics are there. That is more powerful than the fear.
If we take a step back
or the emotion.
And I think so many times we let emotions be the driving decision maker. I don't want to use coupons. This is something that was real for me. I don't want to use coupons at the grocery store because I feel embarrassed. Even though using coupons is like a great way to build wealth. I don't want to use a budget because it makes me feel broke, or it makes me feel cheap, or it makes me feel like restricted, right? Yeah, I think this is the right word. But again, I'm letting, in those cases where I let the emotion dictate the outcome, I let it make the decision for me. And it's not even, forget the fact that it's true, not true, based on reality. You know what I mean? Like there's so many cases in my life, and it sounds like maybe in yours too, where emotion really was a deciding factor. And I'm not talking about like you get a sense there's a bear in the woods and you need to turn around and go home. You should probably just turn around and go home. But when it comes to like your health and getting to the gym and working out, I don't feel like it won a lot for me.
Yeah, I think part of the problem with that example or the eating healthy, right? I don't feel like it. It's easier for me, or like I like the flavors of my, I don't know, Panda Express
Sure.
more.
Yeah.
Is that we also, in that moment, as we are making the emotional decision, aren't thinking about the long-term result.
Right.
Like, how is that going to compound my decision today to give into the emotion?
Yep.
And do what feels easier, less challenging, less mental capacity to get through the thing. And when we choose that on repeat, the starting over feels impossible.
Yeah.
Because now we've let ourselves get so far down the direction that we didn't want to be in the first place, that we've, in my case, and some of, my past examples of ebbs and flows in my fitness, like the comeback was harder than the first time in some cases.
This reality, this is such an interesting conversation because like this past week, this really showed up for me on this trip to Dallas for this AI summit. There were some high agency decisions and there were some low agency decisions. And both of them, and all three of them, I was wrestling with these different emotions. So I get to the AI summit I'm the only brown face in the room. There's about 30 some odd people. They're all tech people, CTOs, CIOs. They speak the language of AI and databases and guardrails and prompts, and I'm probably the only operational person there. And so the first presentation starts. We meet and greet, blah blah blah. First presentation starts, and I have a question about how. In my head, I have this question about how this presenter had in his company decided to parse different projects. And I went through this whole cycle in my head, similar to the grass conversation about, do I ask my question? Is it going to sound silly? It's an operational question, not a technical question. The whole thing. And so while he's presenting, we move to the question and answer period. I take my notes of my question, and I go back and forth about, like, am I going to do this? Like, I feel nervous. I don't want to embarrass myself with a, quote unquote dumb question. And I end up asking the question. I was like the second person to, raise their hand, ask a question or whatever. And as I'm asking it, there are probably like a dozen people I can see start nodding their head and like giving
Good
me
question.
right,
Good
giving me this
question.
good question. And he answered the question. It was great, and something I could take back with me to our company to do some things, and maybe how we think about how we're prioritizing projects inside the organization. And I felt proud of myself. I've been doing this for this long. It's not the first time I was, the only brown face in the room, the least technical, or one of the least technical people in the room, and to be able to step up, ask that question was big for me. Now you fast forward to dinner that night, and I had gotten up. I hadn't worked out that morning. Food was sparse just because it was traveling, and they were bringing out the food, and I know I committed to eating healthy on this trip, and I was going to do well, and I had done pretty well at lunch, and they rolled out dinner, and I probably had 3 pieces of cake.
He didn't tell me this until right now.
I had 3 pieces of cake. It was red velvet cake too.
Oh.
Yeah, and I had, we recently did our blood test, and I need to limit my refined sugar, and I did not do that at the time. And I thought to myself, it won't matter this one time. Low agency decision, I think, on that one. Okay, and then the third one was on the plane ride home. On the plane ride home, thunderstorms. We're on a budget airline. No AI, no Wi-Fi, no internet. Nothing's happening. We're just sitting with a laptop with a notes page open, and I had the option of getting frustrated and pissed off that we had to fly around in circles to let the storm go by so we can land safely. I was concerned that we might have to divert, which was just a whole nother thing. Divert to a different airport. And I asked myself in that moment, like, how can I maximize this opportunity? How can I paused and I said to myself, I can let the frustration take over, or I can do something about my situation. And instead, I just decided to open my laptop and work on this dream that you and I have. And I created a lot of work that I'm really proud of, sitting on this plane for 3.5 hours. And it was just a culmination of all the conversations we've had, thinking about our life together, thinking about these moments that we have together. And it was just really, really good work product that I was able to create. So, high agency, asking my question. Low agency, on the 3 pieces of red velvet cake. High agency, on maximizing the time I had on the flight without any internet connectivity. It's a practice. It is a constant, ever evolving, ever changing. Every day we have opportunities to practice pausing and thinking about our future self and try to make a higher agency decision. Yeah. So, you talked about the fire inspection. What you didn't talk about is the frustration you felt after, or probably during and after the fire inspection.
Yeah.
How did you deal with it? How did you respond to it?
I was pretty happy-go-lucky while going through the building and doing the walkthrough. And I asked a lot of questions because as she was pointing things out, and I'm like, we haven't changed this from last year. Did fire code change, right? Like, is that a thing? And then, she explained to me that yes, fire codes do change. It's typical every 3 years, and come January, they're going to change again. So be prepared basically to whenever they come back again for next summer's inspection, everything that we've covered, this week or this time may be different as well. But as it continued to go on, and there was like even more things that to me just seem silly. I am by no means, like, I have zero experience whatsoever in what should or shouldn't be considered appropriate for fire code. I am not someone that should pass judgment. So I was getting frustrated, and I caught myself like actually saying to her, like, this is, I'm sure you can understand my frustration or something along those lines. Because we've been in this building for August, it will be 9 years, and we have not made changes to, anything. And as she and I continued to talk more, and she would explain, certain things, at one point she actually said, well, you're right to question this. Let me actually get my laptop and I will go through the specifics because I may have misinterpreted something, or maybe this isn't actually, what I remembered it being. And so then she pulled out her laptop and she went through the specifics. And as this is happening, I'm recognizing that, like, she's just the messenger, right? So maybe the person who came last year was supposed to have done their job to this, efficiency or be this thorough in their inspection, and they didn't. And she is doing this because it will provide the safest environment. And I want to give that to every employee that I have, every, community member that we have, every drop-in that walks in, right? Like, this isn't something that I take lightly. So my frustration of, just this new information settled a little bit. I was less irritated. But then as I'm thinking through, like, Friday night, I'm coaching and I'm like looking around at the, I don't know, exit lights that need to be replaced, or the batteries, or what. I don't even know. The wiring might be faulty and that could be causing the issue. And then Saturday when we're doing the walkthrough of like pointing, stuff out, and I'm communicating to you and showing you like all this stuff, then of course I'm like irritated again that like these things just seem remedial or silly. Like, the building is almost exclusively windows. There are like 100 doors in our place. There's not really 100, but there is a plethora of doors. If you cannot figure out where the exit is, like, I don't understand who is in this building that you cannot find your exits. So, like, just that kind of stuff, I'm like, whatever.
So that inspection could have gone sideways pretty quick, especially with frustration bubbling up.
I could have been very nasty to her, but that's not going to do anybody any good.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, as a business owner, this is our responsibility. It's not our fault. It's not our, like, we didn't read fire code and then, like, deliberately go against whatever it says, right? Like we purchased an established business. We've passed fire inspection previously.
Yep.
We didn't make any adjustments to things that would then put us at risk. And now we've, found ourselves in this situation. But at the end of the day, like, it's still our responsibility.
I love
I
that.
have to fix it.
Yeah, I know. And it's interesting. My takeaway from that is as the emotion of frustration was building, you chose not to let that be the default answer to just get frustrated with her, and instead just leaned in and decided you needed to learn more about what was happening so you could act on that responsibility, right? Mm-hmm. And I know for me, in a lot of cases, it's one place I can get better at when I'm faced with something that frustrates me. Lean in, get curious, and don't react, or don't just react. And I mean, I think this happened the other week. I almost fired off an email I should have, just because I was in that mode of like frustration, react. So kudos to you.
I mean, she has a pretty thankless job. I'm sure she is met with a lot of not pleasant discussions because her job is to come in and tell people, like, this thing is wrong.
Yep.
And it's probably going to cost you money to fix it. On top of this, we have to pay them to do the inspection that they force onto us.
I love that. So during the fire inspection, during the workout, during the meeting that I went to, sitting on the plane, cutting the grass, these are all eating the 3 pieces of velvet cake. Red velvet cake. These are all little moments that if you add them up together, you can start to see a pattern where things will benefit you if you lean into what I like to call the pause before you react. The pause after the emotion hits. Now you have a pause and then you kind of think about all these things before you react. So if we go back to the top, it's not about knowledge, right? I think plenty of people know that they should work out, they should eat healthy, they should live on a budget. When it comes to the time to actually do the thing, this emotion pops up and it takes over. It's taken over for me, it's taken over for you. But now I think we're in a place where we recognize that that's not a good, and maybe it comes with maturity, but I think more importantly it comes with recognizing that the emotion doesn't have the 100% say on what happens next. Does that resonate with you and what you experience?
Yeah, I think I've blah, 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 blah. I know that my experience plays into this because past me was hyper emotional and always almost exclusively made decisions based on emotion. I led with my heart constantly, and I am the type of person who wears emotions on my sleeve. So if I'm feeling something, you can probably sense what I'm feeling. I believe that my experience in business and working for, big corporations, small corporations, now as a business owner, I am forced to take more information in before making a decision because an emotional decision isn't always the one that includes all of the facts. It doesn't provide me with the most rational view of the big picture. And because of that, I have carried that over into my personal life, which then helps with, our fitness goals, my general wellness and well-being, our relationship with other people, my relationship with my family, how we budget, how we spend our money, the fact that we don't live beyond our means, right? We use the term budget all the time because it's a tool that we've adopted, but realistically speaking, like we spend less than we make and we invest as much as we can.
Yeah, no, I'm
to
with you.
grow our wealth and put us in a financial situation to be able to retire at some point or live the life that we want because we've got additional money working for us that we aren't necessarily trading time for.
It's so interesting. We live in a society. We're surrounded by systems. I know you don't like that word, but we're surrounded by companies, marketers, salespeople, who social media, who actively want us to make nothing but emotional decisions all the time. They want to tap into that emotion and tell you to buy this, do this, react, click, comment, do the thing. And what it sounds like is that we have to do the opposite of that. At least that's my takeaway. That we have to reject this idea that we have to react emotionally to the thing. Like the better option is just to pause and figure out, does my reaction move me in the direction that I want to go? And that is so hard for some reason. Maybe because we don't talk about it. Maybe because, like I said, there's so many things telling us not to do that. But when we do that, at least when I've done that, positive things have come out of it. I did not feel good after 3 pieces of red velvet cake. But I felt really good after answering my question in the meeting and after knocking out a bunch of work on the flight. And I felt really good after the grass was cut, by the way. Just so you know.
It looks so good. I told him when I came out, I didn't know that he had this internal battle.
Yeah.
And the lawn looks so good.
Yeah. And you know what's funny about that? I say that this internal battle. The pause wasn't that long. Like when you were with the fire inspector. I don't know if it was 15 minutes for you to get frustrated and then figure out you just needed to lean in and ask.
Yeah, I couldn't have taken 15 minutes. She was still there.
That's what I'm saying. So
there for an hour and a half.
So I think when we talk about the pause, I want to make sure it's not like half an hour. I mean, you can certainly take half an hour.
Or like 6 days.
Or 6 days.
Well, I guess it depends on what decision are you trying to make.
Sure.
Are we like, making a life change, accepting a new job, moving across the country, spending, 10 grand on something? Like maybe that's worthy of multiple days to pause. Are we pausing? I couldn't take 20 minutes in the middle of my workout to pause and decide, am I going to make an adjustment and keep going, or am I really going to actually just stop and quit? Because my 15-minute time cap would have completely expired.
So the pause just needs to be relative, enough time to make a decision that moves you in the direction you want to go.
Yeah.
I agree with you. So, I mean, for all of those people who are still listening to this conversation, you don't necessarily need a bunch of additional knowledge. I mean, it can certainly help, but you don't need a bunch of additional knowledge. If you're not getting the things done that you want to get done, it may be that you're letting your emotions dictate whether or not you do the thing. And you don't have to turn your power over to your emotions. You don't have to be this person that just reacts all the time. Even though everyone around you, all the companies and all the marketing and all the social media says that you should just react. You don't have to. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Thanks for listening.
Where can they find us, and should they subscribe? Because we haven't asked them to.
Yeah, we need to start saying this in the beginning, and then we can repeat it in the end, because we always close this way. But now that we're having this conversation, I'm recognizing that we should also add it to the beginning. So next time, we will also have this at the beginning. We are on YouTube, Cheese, Curds, and Coffee. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, basically anywhere you get your podcasts, Cheese, Curds, and Coffee. We have a Substack account that we haven't really talked about, but you've mentioned Build Your Proof a couple times. So Alan's Substack is under Alan Thompson, Allen Thompson, Thompson. You can get some articles. They usually coincide with what we've got on the episode as well. And Instagram at Cheese, Curds, and Coffee. You can also find us hanging out at Mousetrap Fitness.
I would ask anyone listening, still listening, just to do one challenge this week. And next time an emotion comes up, you're making a decision. Next time, let me back up. Let's just say you plan to do this thing, take this action. You're going to do a workout. You're going to finally fill out a budget. You're going to make a promise to your spouse. And the moment arrives and an emotion comes up that says, I don't feel like it, or I'm too tired, or some emotion that suggests to you that you shouldn't do it. I would ask you to pause and think about it. What small action can you take in that moment that can move you towards making that thing true? What small action can you take towards making that thing true? Even when you're tired, even when the emotion comes up. I'm not saying the emotion isn't true, but I'm just saying the emotion doesn't have to have 100% say in our actions. So think about that next time. Hopefully, maybe it might come up for you this week. I'd love to hear your comments, read your comments about it.
See you next week.
Thanks.